Hello and welcome back for another week of the Donor Conversation Weekly. My name's Bryan Funk, and I'm joined here with Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. How's it going?
Good. Hi, everyone. Charlotte Federer's Client Success Lead here at Practivated. Excited to be with you all today. All right.
Beautiful. Every single week, we are going live on Wednesday mornings, giving you practice scenarios on how you can prepare for the year-end giving season. We'll be here each week leading up to year-end and throughout. And for this week's scenario, we're going to be going through how to create donor connection through events. Charlotte is going to be running through some AI practice scenarios, and then she's actually going to invite Coach Tivy onto stage to also provide some feedback. Charlotte, take it away.
Yeah. So today we are practicing an event invitation conversation. So this was released into the platform last week. And event invites are such a prime opportunity to connect with both new and existing donors, not just to fill those seats, but to really deepen relationships and encourage that ongoing support of your cause. And we know that nonprofits host a lot of events in the fall because it's our biggest fundraising season of the year. And it's leading up to things like Giving Tuesday and year-end giving and the holidays. And this period really presents a chance to bring new donors into the fold, engage those existing supporters, and share your mission in a more kind of creative, relational way. And so when we do an event really well and we're proud of our events, it doesn't often feel like a transaction. It feels more like that kind of open door into your community and the impact you're having on your community. So super simple to hop into Practivated and practice those event invitations to your donors or prospective donors or just people in your community. You can find the event invitation in the practice scenario section here, and then you can just click start session and we will dive right in. So I'm going to click start and it's going to prompt me to have the conversation. So here we go.
Hi, I saw your note about the upcoming event. Can you tell me more about what to expect? I want to be sure it's a good fit for me before committing my time.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you asked. And I want to share more with you today. The gala for our Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is one of our signature events of the year. And it's this November. And we're actually going to be debuting at the Museum of Science and Industry, which makes it extra special. It'll be a really fun evening. You can bring the whole family. It's truly an unforgettable evening of celebrating our IBD community, our patients, our caregivers, our researchers and supporters who really make progress possible within the community. And the night includes a reception, a dinner, a silent auction, and also just inspiring stories from leaders in healthcare, as well as some of our grateful patients. And it's really just a night to bring together the community and share more about the impact our work has on the mission of, fighting and curing Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis.
Wow, that actually sounds like a really powerful night. And I didn't realize it was at the Museum of Science and Industry. That's such a cool venue. I'm definitely drawn to events that feel both meaningful and a little bit special, and this seems like it could be both. Just a couple of things I'm wondering. What kind of crowd is usually there? Is it mostly donors, families affected by IBD, medical professionals? I ask because I like having a sense of who I might be connecting with. Also, what's the main goal for the evening? Are you fundraising for a specific program or research breakthrough? Or is it more about awareness and celebrating the community? I do tend to get a little stretched in the fall with other commitments, so I want to make sure I can really be present and not spread too thin. But from what you've shared so far, it definitely has my attention.
Absolutely. And it's really all of the things you just shared. It's really both a celebration, first and foremost, a chance to come together as a community and reflect on the progress we've made. You will share opportunities and conversations with medical professionals, leaders in the industry, folks who are supporters legacy donors or, even small monthly donors. We invite all donors to the event. You'll also get to hear from those grateful patients. So it's a wide range of folks who attend. And then it also has that duality of celebrating our progress, celebrating how far we've come in IBD research, as well as raising critical funds to support more of the foundation's mission, including additional research into different patient programs, new medications, and also advocacy for our patients. There will be a short giving moment during the program, but it's a really kind of warm and inspiring moment where we include our patients in kind of that silent auction and sharing their stories. It's not high pressure. It's really a fun celebration and time to really see the impact that your donations have on our mission.
Thanks, Charlotte. This gives me a much clearer picture, and I really appreciate how thoughtful the evening sounds. I like that it's not just a fundraiser, but also an opportunity to see the faces and hear the voices behind the mission. The fact that the giving moment isn't high pressure is honestly a relief too. It's really meaningful to hear that there's a mix of people: patients, families, professionals, longtime supporters. That kind of diversity creates such a heartfelt energy. I'll admit, I'm still working out my fall calendar a bit. November tends to fill up fast, but this is definitely the kind of event I'd make room for if I can. Is there a way to get a reminder or maybe a little more info as we get closer? Or even a way to preview some of the stories or speakers that will be part of the evening? That might help me plan better, and honestly would be something I'd look forward to.
Yeah, it really is a wonderful evening with such great energy in the room. It's always incredible to see families and patients sharing with donors and making those connections and hearing from medical professionals on how the impact on research has, or kind of fundraising for research has had an impact on their work. I'd love to make sure that we stay in touch. You have the date in November. I've sent over the save the date. I would love to make sure you're seated with a great group and get, an introduction to some of our community leaders that night, because that sounds like something you would be interested in. Would it be okay for me to send over the rest of the event details and table options for you that evening?
That sounds wonderful, Charlotte, and yes, I'd really appreciate that. Please do send over the event details and table options. Knowing who I might be sitting with or getting a chance to meet definitely helps me feel more connected to saying yes. And being able to look over the options will let me see if it makes more sense to attend individually or if I might even bring someone along. Thank you again for taking the time to walk me through everything so warmly. It really makes a difference. I'll keep an eye out for the details and we can go from there. Sounds like a night I wouldn't want to miss if I can help it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the time today, and I will get that sent over right away and look forward to seeing you there and being in touch further. All right, so there's our event invite simulation. We'll now give it a moment to pull our feedback, and then we can dive into how Coach Tivy can help us take a look at our scores and where we can maybe find some improvement there, and we'll do that here in a minute. Thoughts, Bryan?
Amazing. Yeah, I just love how like this simulation really walked you through nicely like how you can put in practice around trying to engage a donor within, an experiential touch point and ask as opposed to like always, coming first with the financial ask. This is a
Mhm.
great way to engage our supporter base, re-engage past supporters as we ramp up into year end. So like just love the way that the simulation like helped, prepare for that. What were you feeling as you were going through it?
Yeah, I feel similarly. I like the practice of talking to donors and supporters about something really exciting and a community event that's bringing everyone together. That's not just a moment of making that ask. So that was fun to do, to kind of talk through an event in particular. I I did feel a little overwhelmed, and I feel like this happens a lot when you're talking to someone about like an event or a program within your organization is that sometimes the donor asks like 4 or 5 questions before you can answer one of them. So they're like, "Oh, and who's going to be in attendance? And
Mm-hmm.
what are your key, things?" And you don't want to interrupt them, and so you just kind of mentally take note of those things, and then you have to, when you go to respond, make sure you're checking each of those points in response. So that was one thing for me that I had to take a moment to make sure mentally. I'm like, okay, he asked about who attends this event, what our takeaways from the event are, why is it important, all in one question kind of thing. So that,
Mm.
I would say that was probably the trickiest part for me, was just making sure I was hitting those key points he asked about, because he did bring several things to the conversation at once. So let's take a look.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder on sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's a great reminder on how we like dovetail and kind of anticipate, you know, the questions that we might be asked, and how we
Mhm.
can kind of seamlessly stream together and be prepared for, how to answer multiple things at once. But yeah, didn't mean to cut you off. Just let's dive into, the feedback from the session and what Coach
Yeah.
Tivy has to say.
Absolutely. So, as you all can see here, you get scored on 16 different skills in these 4 different buckets. So, communication and delivery skills, fundraising specific skills, relationship building, and then strategic thinking. And so, you can click into any of these. If we look at like structure, flow, and transition, getting a grip. So, kind of mid-level scoring here. Definitely need to work on smoother transitions, avoid filler words, just make it a cleaner, clearer ask of the for the donor. Um, Define next step, Tivy level talent. So that next step was really defined in the conversation. I kept them engaged and also provided the information for how I was going to follow up and how I was going to send information. So any of these we can dive into, and there's a little button here, talk with Tivy about this score, and you can ask her questions about your score, why you were scored at that level, or what are some next steps in your next round of practicing that you can take to improve that score. So I'm gonna find one. Let's see. Oh, let's take a look at insight gathering. So it says I gathered some insights from the donors' questions, but missed some kind of deeper exploration of their interest. I didn't really ask too many questions about what his interest was for the event, and maybe potential concerns or potential opportunities throughout the evening that could be there. So let's see what Coach Tivy has to say about that.
Hello, Charlotte. How can I support you in improving the insight gathering? I've seen your feedback and conversation. Let's explore how we can strengthen this area together.
Yeah, Coach Tivy, I really agree on this getting a grip score for insight gathering, and I actually didn't really think about it until I saw it here, but I think I missed an opportunity to really develop a deeper relationship with the donor here and ask him questions about what he would want to get out of the event, and maybe pull out some values or priorities for the donor for that evening.
Exactly, Charlotte. That insight is a big step forward. You were warm and informative, which laid a great foundation. Now, the opportunity is to build on that by gently uncovering more of the donor's why. When a donor expresses interest, like this one did, it opens a clear door to ask something like, what kind of experiences at events like this tend to feel most meaningful for you? Or are there particular stories or moments that help you feel more connected to the mission? These simple, open ended questions create space for values, sharing without turning the conversation into a questionnaire. They also give you valuable clues for follow up and future cultivation. What's one question you could practice using next time to invite the donor more deeply into the conversation?
That's a great question, Tivy. I think I definitely could have asked about what type of experiences he likes to see at events like this. But I'd be curious if you have any suggestions on some other questions I could use in a conversation like this to deepen that relationship.
You're on the right track, Charlotte. When you ask about the experiences that resonate most, you're inviting the donor to connect emotionally and personally. Here's another question you could keep in your back pocket. Is there a part of our work or someone we serve that's really stayed with you? It signals that you care about their emotional connection, not just their attendance. Framing your question around shared impact also works well. Like, when you think about making space for an event like this, what feels most worth it for you? That moves the conversation into uncovering what they value without feeling transactional. Want to try one of those out loud or even tweak it to make it sound more like you?
So love those suggestions from Coach Tivy on a couple different questions I could have used in that scenario where he was definitely engaged. I was able to clearly lay out the details of the event and that evening and the why behind the event and the our mission and our values, but I didn't really engage the donor enough to connect his values and his priorities to the event itself. And there were a few opportunities, I think, there where he was kind of saying, I have a busy schedule. Why would this event in particular be a good fit for me? So I think that would be a key place to ask some of these questions that Coach Tivy suggested here.
Amazing. Great insight, Charlotte. And we're seeing a lot behind the scenes here at Practivated in terms of the impact that donor conversations and practicing donor conversations is having on fundraisers across the sector. We've actually unveiled all of those findings in our State of Donor Conversations 2025 benchmark report. You can just hit this QR code on the top left of the screen, and it's going to dive into what we learned across 370 simulations for 106 fundraisers in terms of areas of improvement across 16 key data metrics that Charlotte had previewed here through the event simulation. And that's a wrap on another week of the Donor Conversation Weekly. Charlotte, thanks so much for joining. Every single week, we are adding new practice scenarios to the Practivated platform. And so you can go in, try these scenarios. There is a free trial available, so anyone can go in for up to 2 weeks and get some practice in. And we hope that these sessions help you prepare for all that is to come in the giving season. We'll see you next week with a brand new scenario.
Thanks, Bryan.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
With every modern tool and technology available to us, why do we still struggle to meet the donor where they are in their journey? It's because technology can't replace the #1 skill set fundraisers use and need every single day to move from insights to action: the art of human conversation and connection. Because conversations move missions. The right conversation can unlock generosity, deepen trust, and fuel impact. But fundraisers rarely get a safe place to practice those high-stakes moments. That's why we built Practivated, the first AI-powered donor conversation simulator built just for fundraisers. Our AI coach, Tivy, provides real-time, personalized feedback so every fundraiser can build confidence, sharpen their storytelling, and strengthen relationships.
I'm your strategic fundraising coach built right into Practivated. My whole focus is helping fundraisers like you take confident, high-impact action by aligning with what truly drives donor behavior. I'm trained in evidence-backed strategies that center authentic connection, ethical storytelling, and time-smart execution. Nothing fluffy, all results-oriented. So whether you're navigating a tricky donor conversation, refining your outreach, or battling fundraising fatigue, I'm here for just-in-time guidance that's practical and actionable.
Ready to see it in action? Step into practice today. Practivated. Confidence for every conversation.